Commander Do-hyun Kim stood at the window of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back, his dark eyes fixed on the stars beyond the glass. The ship was quiet. Too quiet. "Sir," said a voice behind him. "They're here." Do-hyun turned to face Lieutenant Min, whose face looked pale in the blue light of the screens. "Show me," Do-hyun said. The main screen lit up. At first, Do-hyun saw only the blackness of space. Then a small dot of light appeared. Then another. And another. Soon the screen filled with hundreds of lights that blinked into existence as if by magic. "The Raxus fleet has arrived," Min said. His voice shook a little. "All 347 ships." Do-hyun felt something cold settle in his stomach. The Raxus had come just as they said they would. The aliens who had taken 17 star systems in 10 years were now at Earth's doorstep. "Send word to Earth Command," Do-hyun said. "Tell them." The prediction was right. Min nodded and turned to his station. The prediction. That's what everyone called it now. The Raxus had an AI that could see the future, or something close to it. It had predicted the fall of every world they had taken. Now it predicted Earth would fall within 6 months. Do-hyun's hand moved to the small photo taped to his console. Jisoo's smile looked back at him, their daughter Soo-min on her lap. "Commander," called another voice. "We're getting a message from the Raxus command ship." The screen changed. A Raxus stood before them. It was tall and thin with skin that seemed almost see-through. Do-hyun could see blue and green lines under its skin, like veins, but more complex. "People of Earth," the Raxus said, its mouth not quite matching the words. Some kind of translator was working. "We are the Raxus Collective. Our predictor has determined that your world will join our empire in 182 Earth days. This is not a threat. It is a fact." Do-hyun felt his hands tighten into fists. "You may fight. Many worlds do. But the predictor has never been wrong. It has calculated all possible moves in this war. It has seen your defeat. We offer you the chance to surrender now to save lives." The screen went dark. The bridge was silent. "Sir," Min said after a moment. "What do we do?" Do-hyun looked around at the faces of his crew. They were scared. He was scared too. But there was something else inside him, something hot that pushed against the fear. "We've sent all our data to Earth," he said. "They've run every simulation. The predictor might be right." He paused. "But there's one thing about humans the Raxus don't understand." "What's that, sir?" asked Min. Do-hyun looked back at the screen, at the hundreds of enemy ships waiting in the darkness. "Sometimes we don't care what the odds are." His communicator beeped. It was a message from Earth Command. "All ships to defensive positions," he read aloud. "The Raxus are sending a team to discuss terms. Admiral Park will meet them." He looked up. "And we have new orders. Project Fury has been approved." Min's eyes widened. "The brain implants? I thought that was just a theory." "Not anymore," Do-hyun said. "I'm to report to Dr. Lee's lab as soon as we reach Earth. I've been selected for the first group." "But sir, the risks don't matter anymore." Do-hyun cut him off. He looked back at the photo of his family. "Tell navigation to set course for Earth and send a message to my wife. Tell her..." He paused. "Tell her I'll see her soon, as..." The ship turned toward home. Do-hyun looked one last time at the Raxus fleet. Their AI had predicted victory. It had seen every move, every strategy, every logical response. But some things couldn't be predicted. Some things, like the rage growing in Do-hyun's mind, were beyond calculation. Admiral Suho Park straightened his uniform one last time. The small team around him looked tense. They were about to meet the Raxus face to face. "Remember," Suho said to them, "stay calm. Show no fear. No anger." The airlock door slid open with a hiss. 3 Raxus stood waiting. They were even stranger in person. Almost 2 meters tall with skin like cloudy glass. Under that skin, Suho could see patterns of light moving along what looked like circuits or veins. "Welcome aboard our vessel," said the middle Raxus. Its voice came from a small box at its throat. "I am Commander Hraz." Suho bowed slightly. "I am Admiral Park. I speak for Earth today. Fraz led them to a round room with a large table. The walls were covered with screens showing Earth from different angles. Please sit, Fraz said. We have much to discuss but little to decide. Suho felt a flash of anger but kept his face still. We have everything to decide, he said. The future of my people is not yet written. The Raxus tilted its head. But it is, it said. Our predictor has calculated all outcomes. In every one, your world joins our empire. The only variable is how many die before this happens. One of the screens changed to show numbers and graphs. Death tolls, destruction rates, all labeled as projections. Our predictor is not a simple computer, Raz continued. It uses quantum calculations to see all possible futures. It has never been wrong in 300 years. Suho looked at the cold data on the screen. Billions of lives reduced to numbers. How does it work? He asked. Your predictor, the Raxus, seemed pleased by the question. It analyzes all variables: resources, weapons, tactics, psychology. It runs billions of simulations of the war to come. And it sees no way for us to win? None, said Raz. Your species acts in patterns just like all others. Even when you try to be random, you follow rules you don't see. The predictor sees these patterns. Suho thought of Do-hyun and Project Fury. Would that change the patterns enough? We need time to consider, Suho said. To speak with our leaders. Raz's inner lights pulsed. You have 72 of your hours. Then we begin our work with or without your cooperation. Back on their shuttle, heading to Earth, Suho's team began talking at once. They're so confident. Did you see those death projections? 300 years without being wrong. Suho raised his hand for quiet. Do-hyun was waiting for them when they docked at Earth Command. How did it go? Do-hyun asked as they walked through the halls. Not well, Suho said. They're giving us 72 hours to surrender. He looked at his friend. The Raxus are strange. Not like us. They show no emotion. It's as if they're part machine. That might be our only chance, Do-hyun said. Dr. Lee wants to see us. Project Fury has made progress. They entered a lab deep underground. Dr. Ah-Young Lee looked up from her work. Dark. Circles showed under her eyes. Admiral Commander, she said. Good timing. We're ready for the first full test. On a screen behind her was a brain scan, lit up with colors. This is a normal human brain, she said. She tapped a key and the image changed. Now parts of the brain burned bright red. And this is what happens when we activate the implant. Those are the emotional centers? Suho asked. Ah-Young nodded. Specifically, the areas that handle rage. The implant doesn't just make someone angry. It creates a new state of mind, one the Raxus have never seen before. How soon can we begin? Do-hyun asked. Tomorrow, she said. We need 12 volunteers. You have one, Do-hyun said. Suho looked at his friend with worry. This is still experimental. Dangerous. Do-hyun's eyes were hard. So is surrender. Outside, the sky was dark with the shadows of Raxus ships. 3 days to decide. To surrender, or to fight a war their enemy had already seen the end of. Unless they could change the rules of the game. The underground base hummed with activity. 100 meters below the Pacific Ocean, hidden from Raxus sensors, humanity planned its desperate move. Dr. Ah-Young Lee stood before a room of 20 military officers. Behind her, a large screen showed brain scans and complex diagrams. The Raxus predictor works by seeing patterns, she explained. It can model human behavior because we follow rules, even when we don't know it. General Han Jun-Kang, head of Earth Defense, frowned. And your solution is to break those rules? Exactly, Ah-Young said. She tapped her tablet, and the screen changed to show a human brain lit up with bright colors. This is a normal brain. And this, she swiped again, is a brain experiencing extreme rage. The new image burned red and orange with patterns that looked chaotic, almost random. Emotions, especially rage, create neural patterns that may be impossible for the predictor to model correctly, she said. The Raxus themselves seem to have no emotions. Their predictor likely doesn't understand them well. Do-hyun leaned forward. So if we fight with pure emotion instead of logic, we might create outcomes the predictor can't see, Young finished. But normal rage isn't enough. It's too brief, too uncontrolled. She showed them a small device no bigger than a coin. This is the Fury implant. It goes at the base of the skull. It does two things. First, it stimulates the brain to produce controlled rage. Second, it maintains logical thinking during that rage. The room went quiet. You want to turn our soldiers into what exactly? Suho asked. Not monsters, Young said quickly. They'll still be themselves, but with access to a mental state the Raxus have never encountered. Has it been tested? General Kang asked. Young looked down. Only on lab animals. It works, but... She paused. There are risks. The brain isn't meant to sustain such intense emotion for long periods. What kind of risks? Do-hyun asked. Stroke, heart attack, mental breakdown. Young looked at each person in the room. In animals, about 1 in 6 didn't survive the procedure. General Kang stood up. This is too dangerous. We can't... Sir, Do-hyun interrupted. The Raxus have given us less than 48 hours now. Their ships are moving into position around our planet. The predictor says we lose no matter what we do. He looked around the room. I volunteer. As do I, said another officer. And I, said a third. In the end, 12 officers volunteered. General Kang tried to argue, but the choice was made. We need a plan, Suho said. Even with these implants, we can't fight their entire fleet. We don't have to, Do-hyun said. We just need to prove the predictor can be wrong, even once. If we can do that, maybe the Raxus will doubt it. And doubt is something their calculations can't handle. 6 hours later, Do-hyun lay on an operating table. Dr. Young stood above him, the small implant in her gloved hand. Last chance to change your mind, she said softly. Do-hyun thought of Jisoo and Soo-min, of Earth, of all the worlds that had fallen to the Raxus because their future seemed certain. Do it, he said. The pain was immediate and intense when the implant connected to his brainstem. Do-hyun's back arched. His vision went red, then black. When he woke, everything felt different. The light seemed brighter, sounds were sharper, and deep inside him was a heat, a power he had never felt before. How do you feel? Young asked cautiously. Do-hyun sat up slowly. The rage was there, but it wasn't wild. It was focused, like a laser. I feel ready, he said. Of the 12 volunteers, 10 survived the procedure. 2 did not. It was time to test if their sacrifice would matter. The medical bay was cold. Do-hyun sat on the edge of his bed watching the other 9 survivors. They all looked different now. Their eyes had a new focus. Their bodies seemed tense, like springs ready to snap. How does it feel? Asked Young, checking the small monitor in her hand. She had asked this question every hour since the surgery. It's like having a fire inside, Do-hyun said. But I control the heat. Young nodded. The implant is working as planned then. The rage is there, but it's not taking over. When can we test it? Asked Jun, one of the other soldiers. He was pacing back and forth, unable to sit still. Tomorrow, said Young. We need to be sure the implants are stable, but they didn't have until tomorrow. An alarm blared through the base. Red lights flashed in the hallway. General Kang's voice came over the speakers. All personnel to stations, the Raxus have moved their deadline. They're sending ships into our atmosphere now. Young looked at her tablet in panic. It's too soon. The implants need more time to... We don't have more time. Do-hyun stood up. We have to go now. The 10 of them moved quickly to the command center. General Kang and Admiral Suho were standing in front of a large screen showing Raxus ships entering Earth's atmosphere. They said we had more time, Suho said, his face grim. The predictor must have calculated that we were planning something. What's the situation? Do-hyun asked. 5 Raxus ships are heading for major cities, General Kang said. They're sending a message: surrender now or these cities will be destroyed. The Defiance is ready, Suho said. We've fitted it with the stealth systems. It might get you close enough to their command ship. Do-hyun looked at the 9 other implanted soldiers. We're ready. No, you're not, Ah-young said firmly. The implants need more testing. You don't know what will happen if you fully activate them. We know what will happen if we don't, Do-hyun said. 30 minutes later, they were aboard the Defiance. The ship had been changed. Its outside was now covered in black panels that bent light around them. Its engines had been modified to leave. No heat trail. Remember, Ah-young said over the comm as they prepared to launch. The implants are triggered by threat and strong emotion. Once activated, you'll experience everything differently. Time will seem slower, your strength will increase, but there's a cost. Your heart will work harder. Your brain will burn more energy. You can only stay in that state for about 15 minutes before risking permanent damage. Understood, Do-hyun said. He turned to his team. Our mission is simple. Get to the Rax's command ship. Show them that their predictor can be wrong. We don't need to win the war today. We just need to create doubt. The Defiance lifted off, rising through a hidden tunnel in the ocean floor. When it broke the surface, its stealth systems activated. On radar, it would look like nothing more than background noise. As they rose into the sky, Do-hyun felt the implant warm at the base of his skull. It seemed to sense his determination, his readiness. Setting course for the Rax's command ship, said the pilot. ETA 20 minutes. Do-hyun touched the small photo of Jisoo and Sumin that he kept in his pocket. Let's show them what they couldn't predict, he said. The Defiance disappeared into the clouds, heading for the massive Raxus vessel that hung above the planet like a dark star. The test was about to begin. The Defiance moved silently through space. The Raxus command ship grew larger in the view screen. It was huge, almost like a city in space, with strange blue lights pulsing along its hull. Their sensors haven't found us yet, the pilot said. The stealth system is working. Do-hyun felt the implant at the base of his skull grow warm. His heart beat faster as they approached the enemy ship. Remember the plan, he told his team. We get in, find their neural link to the predictor, gather what data we can, and get out. We're not trying to destroy their ship. We just need to prove their AI can be wrong. The Defiance slipped beneath the Rax's ship. There was a small docking area that seemed less guarded. That's our way in, Do-hyun said. Get us close enough to use the boarding pods. The ship moved carefully. The pods were ready, small craft that could cut through the hull of the Rax's ship and create a seal. 10 seconds to launch, the pilot said. Do-hyun and his team entered the pods. Each one held 2 soldiers. They wore light armor and carried energy weapons stolen from a Rax's scout ship months ago. Launch, the pilot said. The pods shot out from the Defiance. They hit the hull of the Rax's ship with a dull thud. Then came the sound of cutting metal as the pods burned through. Move, fast, Do-hyun said over the comm. We'll have company soon. They entered the Rax's ship through the holes their pods had made. The air inside was breathable but smelled strange, like metal and something sweet. This way, Do-hyun said, checking the map Ah-young had made from stolen Rax's data. The command center should be 3 levels up. They moved through dimly lit hallways. The inside of the ship was even stranger than the outside. The walls seemed alive, with light moving through them like blood in veins. Contact, said Jun, who was at the front of the group. 2 Raxus guards ahead. The aliens hadn't seen them yet. Do-hyun signaled for the team to split up. But then an alarm sounded. Bright red lights flashed through the corridors. They've found us, Do-hyun said. Go loud. The Raxus guards turned. They were tall and thin, with those see-through skins showing complex patterns of light beneath. They raised weapons that looked like part of their arms. Do-hyun felt the implant activate fully for the first time. Heat rushed through his body. The world seemed to slow down. He could see the energy building in the Raxus weapons before they fired. Now, he shouted, and his team attacked. Do-hyun moved faster than he ever had before. He dodged a bolt of energy from a Raxus weapon and closed the distance. His own weapon fired, hitting one guard in the chest. The alien fell, its inner lights fading. More Raxus appeared, the corridor filled with the flash of energy weapons. But something strange was happening. The Raxus soldiers seemed confused. Their movements were not as smooth as before. They can't predict us, June said, his voice excited. Look at them. He was right. The Raxus were used to knowing what their enemies would do before they did it. But now, faced with the rage-enhanced humans, they hesitated. Do-hyun and his team fought their way forward. They reached a large door that must lead to the command center. Plant the charges, Do-hyun ordered. We're going in hard. The door blew open. Inside was a room filled with Raxus. In the center was a platform where one Raxus stood connected to many tubes and wires. Its skin was clearer than the others, showing its brain glowing with blue light. That's it, Do-hyun said. That's their link to the predictor. The Raxus in the room turned to face them. Their movements were still uncoordinated, unsure. Take everything, Do-hyun said, and then we run. Download everything, Do-hyun shouted as energy bolts flew past his head. Jun connected a small device to the Raxus control panel. Lights blinked as data flowed into it. More Raxus poured into the room. The team formed a circle, firing back. Do-hyun felt the rage implant burning hot now. His vision had a red tint. His muscles seemed to know what to do before his brain told them. 30 seconds, Jun called out. The Raxus seemed to be recovering from their initial confusion. Their movements became more coordinated. Do-hyun knew they couldn't stay much longer. Got it, Jun finally yelled, pulling the device free. Let's go. Fall back to the boarding point, Do-hyun ordered. They fought their way back through the corridors. Two of Do-hyun's team fell to Raxus weapons. Another was hit in the leg but kept moving. Do-hyun checked the timer on his wrist. The implants had been fully active for 12 minutes. They had 3 minutes left before risking brain damage. Almost there, he said, his breath coming fast. They reached the hole they had cut in the hull. The Defiance waited on the other side, its engines glowing with readiness. Go! Do-hyun shouted. His team jumped through the hole back into their ship. Do-hyun was last. As he turned to jump, a Raxus energy bolt caught his shoulder. Pain shot through him. The implant responded with more rage, more power. He stumbled through the hole and fell onto the deck of the Defiance. We're all in, Jun shouted to the pilot. Go. The ship pulled away from the Raxus vessel. Then the stars stretched as they jumped to safety. Do-hyun lay on the floor, breathing hard. The eye implant slowly cooled down. The red tint faded from his vision. He felt tired, more tired than he had ever been. We made it, Jun said, helping him stand, and we got their data. Back at the underground base, Dr. A. Young worked quickly to analyze what they had stolen. Do-hyun and the survivors of the mission sat in the medical bay, being treated for their wounds. Your body readings are concerning, the doctor told Do-hyun. The implant pushed your system hard. But it worked, Do-hyun said. You should have seen the Raxus. They didn't know what to do against us. Hours passed. Then Ah-young rushed into the medical bay, her eyes wide with excitement. I found it, she said. I know why they couldn't predict you. She put her tablet on the table where everyone could see it. It showed 2 brain scans side by side. One was smooth with regular patterns. The other was chaotic, with wild bursts of activity. This is a Raxus brain, she said, pointing to the smooth scan. And this is your brain when the implant is active. Admiral Suho, who had just entered the room, leaned closer. What does it mean? The predictor AI works on quantum probabilities, Ah-young explained. It can map all possible moves in a war, because it understands the patterns of thought that lead to those moves, but she tapped the chaotic brain scan. It can't map this. Human rage creates patterns too random, too complex for its algorithms. So when we fought with the implants, Do-hyun started. You became something the predictor had never seen before, Ah-young finished. It couldn't tell the Raxus what you would do next. That's why they seemed confused. General Kang, who had been listening from the doorway, stepped forward. Can we use this? Can we win? Ah-young nodded slowly. I think so, but we need more than 10 soldiers. We need to improve the implants, make them safer. How long? Suho asked. A week, maybe less, Ah-young said. And we'll need a real target. Something that will show the Raxus that their perfect AI can be wrong. Do-hyun stood up, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. I know just the place, he said. Deimos. Mars's moon, Suho asked. Why there? That's where they're gathering their fleet, Do-hyun said. It's where we can hurt them most. A plan was forming, a desperate plan, but the first real hope Earth had. 1 week later, Earth was ready. Dr. Ah Young had improved the rage implants. They were safer now and could be used for up to 30 minutes without causing permanent damage. 50 soldiers had received the new implants. Their ships had been modified with the same stealth technology as the Defiance. The Raxus fleet is still gathering at Deimos, Admiral Suho told them during the final briefing. Almost 30 ships, including 3 of their largest vessels. The plan was simple but dangerous. First, Earth's regular fleet would attack the Raxus ships using standard tactics. This would make the Raxus think they knew what was coming. Then, when the Raxus had committed to their defense, the implanted soldiers would strike from a different direction. Remember, Do-hyun told his team, our goal isn't to destroy their whole fleet. It's to create doubt, to show them that their predictor can be wrong. They launched from Earth in 5 ships. The regular fleet went ahead while Do-hyun's special forces followed in stealth mode. The trip to Mars took 3 days. They spent that time training and preparing their minds. The Raxus will be confused at first, Ah Young told them over the comlink. But they learn fast. You'll have a short window to do maximum damage before they adapt. As they approached Deimos, they could see the Raxus fleet. The ships were arranged in a perfect formation, their hulls glowing with that strange blue light. Earth fleet is beginning their attack, the comm officer announced. On the view screens, they watched as Earth's regular ships engaged the Raxus. It went exactly as the simulations had predicted. The Earth ships were outmaneuvered at every turn. The Raxus seemed to know what they would do before they did it. 3 Earth cruisers already destroyed, the comm officer reported grimly. No Raxus ships damaged. That's our cue, Do-hyun said. All ships power up weapons. Activate implants on my mark. He felt the familiar warmth at the base of his skull as his hand hovered over the activation button. Mark! The implant flared to life. The rage filled him, controlled but powerful. The world slowed down. His mind raced with possibilities the predictor would never see. All ships, attack pattern fury, he commanded. Their 5 ships dropped their stealth fields and accelerated toward the Raxus fleet from behind. The Raxus were caught by surprise. They had committed their forces to deal with Earth's regular fleet and left their rear exposed. Do-hyun's ship targeted the nearest Raxus cruiser. They fired their main weapons. The Raxus shields held, but just barely. Again, Do-hyun ordered. They fired a second volley. This time, the Raxus shields failed. The next shots tore through the alien ship's hull. It began to break apart. Blue, light spilling out like blood. All around them, the battle had changed. The Raxus ships were moving erratically as if unsure what to do. Their perfect formation was broken. It's working, Jun shouted from his control station. Their predictor can't track us. In the confusing battle, 2 more Raxus ships were destroyed. An Earth cruiser managed to damage one of the large Raxus command vessels. It was the first time humans had scored a real victory against the aliens. Implant time, 24 minutes. The ship's AI warned Do-hyun. Recommend deactivation soon. All ships prepare to withdraw, Do-hyun ordered. We've made our point. As they turned to leave, the Raxus did something unexpected. Instead of pursuing, their ships pulled back, regrouping around their damaged command vessel. They're confused, Admiral Suho said over the comm. They don't know what to do when their predictions fail. As Earth's ships jumped away from the battle, Do-hyun felt something he hadn't felt since the Raxus arrived. Hope. The predictor had been wrong. The future was no longer certain. 3 days after the Battle of Deimos, the Raxus called for another meeting. This time they asked to meet on neutral ground, a small station orbiting the moon. Admiral Suho led the human team again. Do-hyun went with him as head of security. His implant was inactive, but he could feel it there, ready if needed. When the Raxus entered the meeting room, Do-hyun noticed something different about them. Their movements were less smooth. The lights under their skin pulsed in uneven patterns. They looked unsettled. "You have changed the parameters," said Hraz, the Raxus commander. Its voice box made the words sound flat, but there was something new in them. Was it concern? "We found a way to beat your predictions," Suho said simply. Hraz tilted its head. "This has never happened before. The predictor has never been wrong in 300 years. "Until now," Do-hyun said. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Hraz did something surprising. It placed a small device on the table. A hologram appeared showing a brain scan. It looked much like the ones Young had shown them, with the chaotic patterns of an implant-enhanced human mind. "This is what we cannot predict," Hraz said. "What you call rage, and we do not understand it." Suho leaned forward. "Your species doesn't feel emotions?" "We did once," Hraz said. "Long ago. We found them inefficient. They caused errors in judgment, wars among our own kind. So we evolved past them." "You removed emotions from your entire species?" Do-hyun asked, shocked. "Over many generations." "Yes," Hraz confirmed. "We became logical, predictable. It allowed us to create the predictor, to spread through the stars without conflict among ourselves, and to conquer other worlds." Suho added coldly. Hraz's inner lights pulsed faster. "We saw it as bringing order to chaos. The predictor showed us that all species would eventually join us. It was inevitable." "But not anymore," Do-hyun said. "No," Hraz agreed. "Not anymore." The Raxus commander stood and moved to the window. Outside, Earth glowed blue against the blackness of space. "We have received reports from other systems," Hraz said. "Worlds we conquered years ago are now fighting back. They have learned of your victory at Deimos." Do-hyun felt a surge of pride. They had done more than save Earth. They had given hope to other worlds. "What do you want from us?" Suho asked. Hraz turned back to face them. "We wish to reconsider our approach. The predictor now shows many possible futures, not one certain path. This is new to us. Disturbing." "You're offering peace?" Suho asked, surprised. "We are offering to leave your system," Hraz clarified. "In return, you will not share your emotional weapon with other species we have incorporated." Do-hyun and Suho looked at each other. It was more than they had hoped for. "We need to discuss this with our leaders," Suho said. After the Raxus left, Do-hyun stared out at Earth. "What do you think they really want?" he asked. "Time," Suho said. "Time to understand what happened, to update their predictor. But it may not matter. The word is already spreading through their empire. Other worlds are rising up." Do-hyun thought about what Hraz had said, about removing emotions to become more logical, more predictable. "They're what we might have become," he said quietly. Suho looked at him. "What do you mean?" "If we had taken a different path, if we valued cold logic over everything that makes us human." Do-hyun touched the back of his neck where the implant sat. "The thing that saved us wasn't technology. It was our humanity." The implant felt warm under his fingers, like it was agreeing with him. 6 months had passed since the Raxus left Earth's solar system. The world was healing, rebuilding cities damaged during the brief war. People looked up at the stars with hope again, not fear. Do-hyun sat in Dr. Young's lab. Today was the day. He would have his rage implant removed. "Are you ready?" Young asked, preparing her tools. Do-hyun nodded. "It's time. We don't need these anymore." As Young worked, Do-hyun thought about everything that had happened since that first day when the Raxus ships appeared in the sky. Earth's leaders had accepted the Raxus offer to leave, but with one change. They would not promise to keep the emotional weapon secret. Each world should decide its own fate. The Raxus hadn't liked this, but they had no choice. Their perfect predictor now showed too many possible futures, too many ways they could lose. They retreated to the edges of known space to rethink their entire way of life. Reports came in from distant stars. 3 worlds had already broken free from Raxus control. Others were fighting. The empire built on perfect prediction was falling apart. There, Ah-Young said, stepping back. All done. Do-hyun touched the back of his neck. The small bump where the implant had been was gone. He felt different, lighter somehow. How does it feel? She asked. Strange, he admitted. Part of me misses the clarity that came with the rage. Ah-Young nodded. Some of the others have said the same thing. But the human brain isn't meant to work that way for long. You made the right choice. Do-hyun stood up. Through the window, he could see Seoul being rebuilt. New buildings rose where Raxus weapons had left only rubble. Have you decoded the last message from the Raxus? He asked. Yes, Ah-Young said. It came in yesterday. It was from Hraz directly. She handed him a tablet with the translation. The message was short. For eons, we believed that perfect prediction was the ultimate evolution of intelligence. You have shown us that unpredictability, the chaos of emotion, has its own power. Some among us wish to remember what we once were, what it means to feel. Perhaps one day we will meet again as equals, not as conquerors. Do-hyun handed the tablet back. Do you think they can change? Learn to feel again? I don't know, Ah-Young said. But I hope so. A species that can see all possible futures might do great things if they weren't afraid of the chaos. That evening, Do-hyun walked through the streets of Seoul to his home. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors the Raxus probably couldn't even appreciate. Jisoo was waiting for him, with little Soo-min playing in the garden. When Soo-min saw him, she ran into his arms, laughing. Daddy! Did the doctor fix your head? Do-hyun smiled, holding her tight. Yes, she did. No more special powers. That's okay, Soo-min said seriously. Mom says your real special power is being you. Jisoo joined them, wrapping her arms around both. How do you feel? She asked quietly. Do-hyun looked at his family, at the city around them, at the free sky above. Human, he said. I feel human. Later that night, after Soo-min was asleep, Do-hyun and Jisoo sat looking at the stars from their small balcony. They say the Raxus might come back someday, Jisoo said. Not to conquer, but to learn. Do-hyun nodded. They might. And if they do, we'll have something new to teach them. What's that? She asked. That the universe isn't just about predicting what comes next, he said. It's about feeling it, about living each moment, even the angry ones, even the sad ones. He thought about the implant, about the controlled rage that had saved them all, about emotions so powerful they confused a computer that could see the future. The Raxus perfect AI could predict victory against logical opponents, but it couldn't predict what rage sounds like in a human mind, or what love feels like, or hope, or joy, and in the end that had made all the difference.